too long ago, and you were in the thick of it, just getting ready, embracing yourself, like pretty much knew you're going to be drafted, didn't know where.
Right.
Were you, take us through that moment when, here it's 5,
Yeah.
there you go.
I know, it was definitely a whirlwind. It was, I remember sitting there, and we actually thought the 5th pick had, so our TVs in our room were kind of delayed, so we thought the 5th pick was already gone. So I get this phone call, and I'm like, who could this possibly be? Like, I thought it wasn't 5, and then ends up being the Chargers, and then, from that moment on, it was just such excitement for my family, for everyone there, gratitude, and then for me, it was kind of a whirlwind those next couple of days. But then once I got back kind of like home and reset myself, I was like, wow, what a dream. I mean, to be drafted 5th and to go into the Chargers, I couldn't be more excited.
So did you have a feeling maybe it would be the Chargers? So when you're on the delay, were you disappointed? Were you like, what's going on?
I had a really good combine experience in meetings with the Chargers, but I hadn't really talked to them since because I think they kind of knew me and knew what I had to offer. So I didn't really have a lot of conversations with them. So I knew it was always a possibility. And when they called, I couldn't have been more excited to go out there and have that experience.
Coach Harbaugh now, right?
Yeah, I know.
How's that for you?
It's going to be super exciting. Obviously, a guy who I wanted to, play against in college, and now being my coach is going to be, really cool and really special for me. And to be wanted by a coach like Coach Harbaugh is really exciting.
Well, it's also cool too because it's going to be his first year, right? So you're getting in on the ground floor of whatever he builds,
right?
Which it's always hard as a rookie to begin with, but that makes it maybe a little easier. Do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think either way you're going to the NFL, it's a big step. But having it kind of be, a fresh start, fresh facility will be nice for me just to kind of be learning some of the things with all the guys who have been there. But at the same time, there's always going to be the leaders in the room and the veterans in the room that you got to respect and honor. So it's going to be an exciting transition for me.
What was the best piece of advice? I mean, you have members of your family that have been through the pro experience before, depending on the sport.
Right.
But what maybe was the best piece of advice, because still you're the one going through it by yourself the first time?
Yeah, the biggest advice was stay true to yourself and know, what I do well, what are my strengths, and keep those your strengths, but then also know what you don't do well, and some of those things you got to work on and kind of improve. So that's been the best piece of advice that I've received from both my father, my brother, and the rest of my family. Just knowing, who you are and don't ever let that change.
Number 5 overall is pretty damn impressive. As a little kid growing up, would you have ever thunk it?
I think back to that often. I'm like that little quarterback kid, from grade school who didn't really know, a ton about football. And now, if he would have been able to look forward and see himself getting drafted 5th overall, he'd be pretty excited as a little kid. Like, that was my dream. Walking down to the basement and seeing my dad's NFL jersey hung up, and it's like, that's what I want to do someday. And now it kind of becoming a reality. It's the next step for me, but it's also back to work time, and I have a lot of work ahead of me before I feel comfortable at the next level.
Did you sleep at all that night?
I think I maybe got 3 hours. It wasn't a ton of sleep. I was very excited, all the emotions. I had, texts to respond to and all that kind of stuff. So it was a very exciting moment. So no, I didn't sleep too much.
So now you told me before we started that at least your brother has lived out there before, kind of lay of the land, kind of know where you're going to live, but still, everything is a scramble right now, right? Kind of take us briefly through what you have to do now starting Thursday?
Yeah, so I head out there Thursday for OTAs and mini camps. It'll just kind of be getting my first feel for the team, starting meetings, lifting, running, a little bit of practice, things like that, just to kind of get comfortable. And then I head home for about a month in June and July to kind of reset for training camp, and then head out there and head to the new facility and get ready to work.
Do you take a deep breath? Like, have you had to incorporate any of that kind of stuff now, take it to the next level?
Yeah, I definitely did take a nice deep breath last week and kind of just reflect on what actually just happened, and then kind of reset myself for what I'm going into. This has been my dream, but it's also taken a lot of hard work and, something I love to do, so I couldn't be more excited to put that work in. But it's like, I've made it to this next step, but that's not really it's not where my mindset goes. I want to be able to go back to work and, create something out of this opportunity.
I love that you said that. Making it is not, that was a dream, of course, to make it to the NFL. But it's not like, hey, I'm here now.
Right.
Now because you've been through it, going to Notre Dame, kind of like, okay, now what do I build here?
Right.
Getting drafted, what do I build here? What do you think for you? Do you give yourself the grace, maybe that's not the right word, but the ease to be a sponge right now, or do you just kind of press forward?
I think there's a very good way to do both. You take in the information from the veteran guys in your room who know it. You take the information from the coaches and what they're teaching you. But at the same time, I got to go back to work and get to where I want to be. But you take that information and you just kind of build it into what I'm doing already. And I think that's kind of my approach to the next steps.
Well, you've got Boone here, Alex, right, saying, hey, do this this whole past couple of months.
Yeah.
You've also worked with the best when you're at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
How was it to come back and see the guys here after you were drafted? And it's a fraternity in and of itself in this little training house pocket.
Yeah, it was awesome. The guys here couldn't have been more supportive of me and what I've been, what I've accomplished and what I have going forward. But we're all kind of, like you said, that kind of brotherhood mindset, and we all want the best for each other. So it was really fun, kind of coming back and talk to everybody and hear what their plans are, where everyone's going. So it was a lot of fun. So
any pinch me moments for you?
I try not to get that way, to be completely honest. There are a couple where it's like, wow, like this is awesome, but at the same time, like I just said, I'm so excited for this next opportunity, but it's back to work for me. So I got back to work on Monday. I got to get ready to go for this next step and put all the work in. So I'll catch myself every once in a while, but I try not to. Just to I want to have success, so I got to put the work in to do that.
Well, I know you're a smart guy in the engineering, but there are doctors that say that is the way to find happiness. It's not in achieving the goal, it's the pursuit of it.
Right.
And that seems to be like exactly where you're finding your sweet spot.
Yeah, I think that's definitely where I'm looking for. It's just, I love the work that's involved in the sport. I love getting better at the sport through, single days, single drills, whatever it is. So that part's the part that excites me the most. Like it's going to be that much harder, so you put that much more work in, and getting to do it at the highest level could be more fun. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
I mean, you're going west now. What's the number one thing about Minnesota you got to take with you and make sure that you keep with you?
Yeah, I think like what I said to begin with is just staying true to myself. I'm a Minnesota boy. I don't think I'm going to change anytime soon. But then also being able to kind of experience, the West Coast and what the differences are, but also always know, where I come from and, what my roots are.
Like a Wild jersey, a Twins jersey. Obviously, you can't do the Vikings.
Yeah. I mean, definitely possibilities of that, but I think, my biggest thing is bringing my family along. So bringing pictures from back home, and we're kind of connecting with them and staying connected with them, what they're doing is kind of what I'll be doing in the future.
I hate when people say, what is going to be your first big purchase? So what I like to ask is, what is going to be the first thing that you say, I've made it? Is it putting on a jersey for the first time, the first game? What is that going to be in your mind?
Yeah, I think it's that first game, strapping up the cleats, put the shoulder pads on, and heading out of the tunnel. I think that's kind of the first real taste of the NFL and what's to come. So I think that's kind of my visual of it.
All right, I'm going to leave you with this. If little Joel, like the size of Alex's kids, came to you and said, I have this dream.
Yeah.
What would you say to young Joe
Yeah.
right now?
There's a lot of work ahead of you, and it's going to be a lot of fun work, but never doubt yourself. I didn't mature till later in life, so I didn't really know, being a sophomore in high school playing quarterback and linebacker, that I was going to be an offensive lineman in college. So just trust the process, trust the work, and it's all going to work itself out.
Well, I am so happy for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I like to see you're in a blender on high with the lid off right now.
Yep.
Right? But the mess is going to be pretty.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Good luck.
Thank you.